Morning, everyone. Welcome to today's thought for the day. This year's been a difficult one for most of us, hasn't it? Continues to be so. And those who have lost loved ones or lost their jobs during this time must be finding this time even more difficult than most, and our hearts must go out to them. And each of us has probably found our own way of dealing with this new normal that we've had to become used to. And I was having a conversation with my friend Helen a couple of days ago, and she said that she'd kept hearing phrases from people that 2020 had been a wasted year, and that they can't wait to get to the end of it and into a new year. Do you feel that it's been a wasted year? Yes, many plans have not come to fruition, and many weddings have been put on hold, holidays cancelled, medical procedures postponed, amongst other things. But does that make it a wasteful year? When we'll be able to go on holiday? When will I be able to start working from home? When we'll be able to gather as family and friends? These are the sorts of questions we probably all are asking in some form or another. Well, we know we have to wait, and waiting's something that challenges us, doesn't it? And as we navigate our way through this time, it can be frustrating. Waiting times are tough times, particularly in our sort of instantly gratifying pressure of our Western world. But our waiting times don't necessarily have to be our wasted times if we understand God's perspective on time, on waiting and time. There are two Greek words used for time in the Bible. One is chronos, and chronos is a quantitative or linear time. In other words, it's the passing of seconds and minutes and days and months and years. And it's that sort of time that tells us that we've got to get up at 8 o'clock, we've got to be in work for 9 o'clock, we've got to have lunch at 1, finish work at 5, dinner at 6:30, bed by 10:30, those sorts of day-to-day times. And these are the times that can often enslave us. And the other word for time in the Bible is kairos. It's a completely different type of time. It's a qualitative and non-linear. It means actually an opportunity or a fitting or an opportune time. It's a season kind of time. There's a famous passage in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And that passage captures the essence of kairos. There's a right season for everything from heaven's point of view. In the Bible, kairos describes the fitting, the perfect time in the plans and purposes of God. It's when God intervenes and acts. And it's important that we see the difference between kairos and chronos. God's perspective on time. And out of those two types of times, Chronos and Kairos, what should be the priority in our lives? Well, we know that living in Chronos is important. In fact, we can't escape it. And there's nothing wrong with it. We have to live in it, and we're called upon to take responsibility for our time, that sort of time. But what we have to be careful of is not allowing that sort of time, those Chronos moments of each day, to overtake the Kairos moments, those God moments, those times in which God is at work and is attempting to speak to us each day. We can't become so involved with all the plans and all the schedule stuff that we miss out on the really significant stuff that God may be doing, maybe wanting to be communicated to us, to work in and around and through us. Kairos time says to us, focus your mind on where you are right now. Set your mind on what God is trying to say to you right now. And as we continue trying to get through this seemingly endless time, this endless waiting time of the pandemic, what are we going to do? Are we going to sit back and passively endure it? We can all be tempted to do that, me included. Wait it out, count the days until it finally ends, count those Chronos days. That's living in Chronos. And that could be wasting our time. That waste of time that people were talking to Helen about. Or are we going to live with a real sense of expectancy and anticipation to see how God will act? That's living in Kairos. And each of us has that choice to make. And as my friend Helen reminded me in our conversation, nothing is wasted with God. Amen. I'll speak to you all on Monday if I have the time. And take care of yourselves. Think about those Kairos moments. Think about when God is trying to speak to you and work within you. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.